The 4th of July and many of the things we do this holiday will center around Maryland waters. Here's a fun fact for you. One oyster filters 90 gallons of water per day by itself.
50 gallons of water.
50 gallons, I can't
I got you, Eddie, I got you. Well, we have just 1% the amount of oysters in the Chesapeake that when Captain John Smith came up the bay in the early 1600s. Now, WMAR 2 News' Disco Don Harrison tells us about an Annapolis man who wants to paddle his way to a better bay.
If you live in Maryland, you are fully aware that the Chesapeake Bay and all its tributaries are one of the biggest charms of Maryland. And to keep it that way, the water has to stay clean. There's one Annapolis man who's doing everything he can to make sure it stays that way.
That brackish water sort of gets into your veins. Right?
Chris Hopkinson discovered the beauty of the bay by paddle boarding, so he decided he wanted to raise money to add more oysters to the bay. His daughter Emma joined him today on his training run.
I think it's for a good cause, but I think he's crazy.
Well, what young daughter doesn't think his dad is a little crazy, but this time Emma might have a point. Chris wants to paddle from Havre de Grace to Virginia Beach. That's about 240 miles in 9 days. He is doing this to benefit the Oyster Recovery Partnership. Flying Dog Brewery and Salt Life has sponsored him. He is hoping to raise $200,000. Chris says if you pitch in just $10 to the cause, it will make a difference.
And those $10 put 1,000 oyster spat back in the bay, and those 1,000 oysters eventually filter 50 gallons of water per day per oyster.
The fundraising paddle will go from September 18th to the 26th. At 46, he is feeling strong about the 30-mile-a-day undertaking and encourages anyone to join him along the route.
And if you can go 3 or 4 miles, that's great. If you want to go a little bit further, that's great too.
If you can't get out on the water with Chris, you can track his adventure online live. He will have GPS devices sending back live information.
And I'm incredibly grateful to having the opportunity to live here, that my future generation, our kids, are able to enjoy it as much as we have.
I just like to swim in cleaner water.
Chris will be paddling along the same routes that Captain John Smith did when he came up the bay in 1608. On Cox Creek, Don Harrison, WMAR 2 News.